Welcome back to the channel. In today's show, we explore what's next for BasedAF after the successful launch of their PFP collection, the BasedHeads, including news and updates and some exclusive alpha. So if that sounds good to you, smash that like button and let's get into it. The launch of the BasedHeads exceeded all expectations, effectively minting out in less than 24 hours, with its allow list raffle process being 105% oversubscribed. This has resulted in the floor price more than 3xing out of the gate, and it's holding its ground and maybe even trending slightly upwards. This is in part due to the fact that each wallet was only eligible to mint one BasedHead, resulting in one of the widest distributions ever for a 10k PFP collection. So if you were lucky enough to mint a BasedHead or buy off secondary, what comes next? Let's dive into it. Well, once the last free NFTs are claimed by those who help support the project in its early stages, we'll shortly after see our BasedHeads reveal. And each BasedHead will be represented in one of the 6 leading brands in Trashland. Each brand is represented by a one-of-one leader, so 6 lucky holders will be sitting on a brand boss. Each brand will likely form its own faction in Trashland, no doubt with its own layers of gamification and fun to be had for each of its members.
If you have brands in a virtual world, then it suddenly feels real because there's commercial reality in there. Yeah. We just jumped on that and ran with it, and suddenly we had Fraz Cola, and Fraz Cola, it's a relatively easy thing to get a mock-up of, but once we have the cans in our hands, we're like, we've got to shoot stuff with this because it's real and we can have so much fun with this. And then it was like, well, what else can we do with these brands and where else can we go with that? That sense of being able to create this alternate reality that's commercial, that feels like it has like that just gives it weight, it just gives it a life that is very hard to create unless you have that kind of content creator engine or mentality in your head. But we have so much fun with this stuff, and like it really helps create a 3D version of the world.
Its brands are as follows. Shithead. BasedHead's notoriously splendidly configured hairdos are only possible with the help of Shithead. Extreme sculpting goop. What it lacks in fragrant odor, it makes up for with its holding power, allowing for some gravity-defying hairstyles. Shithead's Extreme Sculpting Goop is their best-selling product, closely followed by Shithead Rug Pull, Extreme Sculpting Goop Remover. Since starting life as a hair product specialist, Shithead have also moved into cosmetic and skincare products, including popular makeup remover developed in production with alcoholic beverage company Fraz, following the success of the Fraz Hacks video series.
Bingo! Bloody brilliant.
The one-of-one boss for Shithead is named Yaya. Kyushu Bob is the CEO of Trashland's premier food brand, Instant Foods, which was previously only available within the boundaries of Trashland due to the lack of any regulatory body or food safety law. Nobody knows what these little packs of dry noodle are made from, nor what the dehydrated green and red bits are. But god damn it, if they aren't insanely moreish, both as meals, with boiled liquid added, or as handy, crunchy snacks, sprinkled with the powder, promising unlikely sounding flavors. Instant Foods are now looking to branch out overseas and actively looking for agents who are prepared not to ask too many questions. And it sounds like we can expect Robin to partake in a noodle eating contest, seeing how many packs of noodles he can stuff down his gullet in just 20 minutes. Probably the perfect carb loading exercise for his Metaverse Marathon. More on that later. And the big brain boss behind headcrank technology is XAE A13, a shamanic engineer extraordinaire and high priestess of the Metaverse. Headcrank is credited with the invention of Ampliflange, a device that allows users to extend their Metaverse experience by giving the users access to sensors normally limited to the real world. The long-term effects are unknown, and the devices come with a 30-page waiver. Headcrank's electrical goods also cover a wide range of other appliances and tech products. Next up, we have boss Little Pampet. He's behind the merch line DGAF, which surely stands for Don't Give a F***. I can see this being a very popular clan within Trashland, and will be a favourite among most of the avatars. DGAF is a lifestyle brand, where the lifestyle is very much based around not giving a f***, something neatly summed up by their legendary, uninspirational staple line, DGAF, don't do it. Their vaporware retro look sports range is wildly popular amongst the BasedHeads hipster crowd. Maybe being part of the DGAF team will result in real life merchandise. Fingers crossed. After a long hard day in Trashland, BasedHeads need somewhere to kick their feet up and enjoy a beverage and maybe a steak. That's where Defiant boss Dieter Quimlich comes into it, the founder of Trashland's best and only erotic bar and grill, home of burlesque, drag queens, strippers, and for some reason, a well-regarded comedy open mic night on Thursdays. At Boobies, pulled pork sausage is always on the menu. And last but not least is of course Fraz Cola.
Introducing Fraz Cola.
fronted by the Maverick, the Lunatic, Frazaholic, and the last living member of the Fraz dynasty. Of course, I'm talking about Johnny Fraz Jr., the second. And Fraz is Trashland's biggest brand. According to the marketing blurb, it was invented in 1890 by J.P. Fraz and Sons, consisting of laudanum, cocaine, and sassafras, although there is no record of its existence before 2022. Fraz Classical's unusual effect on the drinker, along with the Trashland's notoriously lax health and safety laws, have led people to speculate that it's probably still following the original recipe. Fraz Cola Beer Classic is only available for purchase on Trashland, with export versions Fraz Action, Fraz Light, Fraz Looney Juice, Fraz Balmy Fluid, adhering to more FDA-friendly ingredients. One of the cool things about Trashland and the BasedHeads is that the intellectual property of these brands is open. You can expect Robin and the BasedHeads team to create high-quality versions of the advertisements, and we'll be passing these as real-life products, running internal advertisements in some of the BasedHeads content. But the BasedHeads community can take the ball and run with it, and make these what they will. So expect to see knockoff lines popping up all over the metaverse and maybe beyond. Post-reveal, there's still an awful lot to look forward to even in the next 2 weeks. We can expect to see targeted content towards existing YouTubers with big followings, particularly if they've had something to say about Web3 or the Metaverse. And the first target, whose crowd we're going to try and hijack, is that of Cody Ko, who's had some interesting things to say about the Metaverse in the past.
The Metaverse. What is it?
Expect the video to be rather outrageous and controversial, and look to invoke a response from Cody himself. It's all part of the plan to grow the channel. Now, just before the launch of the BasedHeads Mint, Robin appeared on a Twitter space with the Broadside NFT team and leaked some alpha about what we can expect from the BasedHeads moving forward. Let's listen to some of the highlights.
The ironic thing is it's a niche right now, the Metaverse. But when you think about it, it's fucking massive. It's everything. So it's a really rich space to start working in and be able to tell stories and be able to follow trends and do the metaverse version of a trend. And it's up for grabs. That's the weirdest thing. Like, there's very few kind of robust media companies really taking that on as a story, as a thing to really invest time in. And yet there's so much money being spent on it. So there's a massive opportunity there, trying to figure out what the metaverse actually is and quickly trying to build as big an audience as we possibly can. But the power of the metaverse as a concept is it means we don't have to be stuck in Web3 and crypto. Our audience can be anybody. And so the challenge is to tell stories which have a universal appeal to them and that can be just really entertaining as hell. So when you see the thumbnail, you're just like, what the fuck did they do? And then you can't stop watching it. And then like retention tactics and retention hacks for YouTube are maturing rapidly towards storytelling. And I think if you've ever seen any of the videos that we've made, we've always been really good at storytelling, and perhaps we weren't so good at retention, clickbait. And now like YouTube is veering much more in the direction of like, do a big thing, but tell a great story while you're doing it. And that's just like, okay, we're ready for this, and YouTube's ready for us. So
So what the is Based AF anyway? And again, why do we need NFTs to watch shit on YouTube? The BasedHeads represent the core audience, the early champions, the people based enough to mint an NFT in January 2023 and shrewd enough to think we are onto something, and who put a premium on storytelling above all.
We needed to bootstrap our community. We needed to bootstrap our audience for what we're doing. And we wanted to give them ownership of something that represented that sense of being a super fan. We also needed to do it at exactly the same time as we launched the YouTube channel, because the problem I see is if I'm Logan Paul and I come in and I do a PFP collection, does that feel right? It feels like he's just flogging merch.
CryptoZoo.co. I am so excited about this project. It's so fun. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
A fun game that earns you money. How much did you guys make from CryptoZoo?
I lost around $50,000 in CryptoZoo.
I lost $25,000.
$120,000.
$500,000 Australian in CryptoZoo.
Shut up! No, you haven't!
Whereas if we, and again, if we'd spent 6 months building the YouTube channel and building that audience and then we flogged the PFP, it wouldn't feel right. The two had to emerge at the same time. They had to be wedded together, born at the same time, and commingled completely. Like, they are one and the same thing. So they help each other out and they do things for each other. And so they become this singular organism that is working together. Because what we need people to share our content. We need them to watch videos to the end. We need them to help us find stories, help us make connections. And what we need to do is return the value that we create in some form or other back to that community. As we built a mocap studio in the office So we now have it set up and it's installed. And basically, this is the same system they used on Avatar. So we can pop on a suit with ping pong balls on it, and we can pilot characters like with about 96, 97% accuracy. We can pipe this into Unreal Engine. We can use MIDI to control lights and weather and all these kind of things. So I've got a guitar and I can play the guitar and like jam along, and the environment will change. And then we can plug in Houdini, and then we can, on the back end of it all, we can have Chat GPT. So we can hook up Chat GPT to Houdini or Unreal Engine and have people who are chatting live put prompts in that will allow us to change the environment that we're in on the fly as we're like live streaming. That's about 6 months away, that fully fleshed out thing, but like we can have 4 or 5 people in suits all simultaneously on the same stage with props, and the system won't bat an eyelid.
It's worth repeating what Robin just said then. He's saying that the BasedHeads will be able to, in real time, using ChatGPT and AI, affect the 3D set that the BasedHeads team are performing in. Can you imagine how wild this is going to get? It's almost like a digital global improv skit show happening in real time. It sounds pretty wild.
I don't know if you know the YouTuber MKBHD, but he has a robot that he uses to film stuff with.
This was $250,000. So here's the thing about being a tech channel. Everyone's making videos about the same piece of tech. And so anyone can watch any of these videos and get more or less the same information. And so what we're constantly in the business of here is giving you a little bit extra, giving you a reason to watch this one over others. And so every time we pull off something new, we find that it's replicated pretty quickly. So this is specifically difficult to replicate. Every time we do a robot shot, we want it to be not just fun and exciting to watch, but leave you with a little bit of how the f did they do that?
And I was like, what's my robot? And it's a motion capture studio.
Yeah.
The ability to have all these things going on simultaneously with a virtual camera.
That's how we know we're on something different here. This isn't a typical PFP collection, which in the most cases is literally people rallying around a distant roadmap and a 2D image. The utility we can expect to receive as base holders is going to take some time to flesh out. So temper your expectations and let the team get the YouTube channel viral first. However, in saying that, there will be opportunities to participate as a BasedHead in the live content, particularly if you have a VR headset. And that will be starting soon, as early as the 21st of January, with the first ever BasedAF live event. Robin will be undertaking the ambitious task of performing a marathon in the metaverse. He will be running on a VR treadmill made by Cat VR, as seen in this viral clip.
What the hell is that? Hey! Stop playing, fool! Go! I'm fucking dying.
This will allow Robin's footsteps to be translated into a locomotion inside a digital world. The team have built 4 custom virtual environments in VR chat, which allow other users to interact with Robin and run alongside him as he travels. The goal is to raise $100,000 for charity, with $50,000 of one-for-one backing being provided by the Phantom Network. Robin will be setting off to run a traditional 26-mile, 42-kilometer marathon.
It's the most wretched experience ever, but like no one has ever actually done that before.
But he may end up running almost double that, as when the target of $100,000 is reached, raising money for a children's hospital in London, Robin will be forced to go back to the start, and the BasedHeads will have a chance to with him while he's running, making it harder.
Basically, the BasedHeads will be on a secret channel communicating with the team who are running the event to fuck with me, because I'm running through a desert environment, through a jungle environment, through other environments that I don't even know yet because they won't let me know. And then they're just going to be fucking me. So they'll be like blowing a fan at me or turning the heating up, just anything to make my life even more miserable than it already will be.
The entire event will be live streamed on the 21st of January, and Robin will be appearing live in a bunch of Twitter spaces and live YouTube interviews while he's running. And there'll be a bunch of video messages and background on the event, so anyone can catch up quickly when they tune in. And after the completion of the live day event, we can expect a documentary on everything that went into it, including a whole bunch of training in far-flung locations. One of the core tenets of the content that BasedAF plan to produce is showing the human qualities within the metaverse, and I can't think of anything more humanly entertaining than watching Robin suffer while he tries to run an ungodly length of time on a treadmill designed for small sessions. Also, since the reveal, we've had the light shone upon the key antagonist within Trashland. The king and the queen of Trashland are the same person. Karma is a bitch, played by Robin's long-term partner in crime, Simon Wan.
Oh, baby girl, you know I love you. You don't mind, do you?
No.
Cool.
Fuck are we? Karma is a bitch is described as Jesus with tits, a brilliant mind, a wicked sense of humor, and a horde of cult followers who, like Karma, are predisposed to not giving a f. Karma was and still is the only person to have been born on Trashland. You simply adopted the trash. She was born in it, molded by it. As well as a glamorous but short-lived career as an entertainer, Karma invented dozens of insane brands, but realized that she alone would not be able to sell these brands to the rest of the world, and so set about recruiting the internet's biggest influencers to help her in her quest.
Hello nerds, I am back! Just a quick update to say I am loving BitGox at the moment. It has one of the widest selection of low-cap shitcoins around, an amazing UX, super sleek, super classy, and really fun to use. Oh, and by the way, no KYC requirements. So sign up today with my special code NFTs to just fucking start! And $800 in USD. Kisses!
Who are the BasedHeads in the context of Trashland? The BasedHeads are Karma's army of influencers who are lured to Trash Island on the promise of the world's most luxurious party. They were captured and augmented with Amplifland devices, which plug them directly into the Metaverse.
Little baby, don't say a word.
Bro, what do you need, bro? Bro, I'm not very liquid right now, but I can hook you up with some NFTs, bro. Some NFTs and a fucking Tesla Model S 2017 vintage Tesla Model S, bro. What do you need? What can I give you, man? What do you need?
KFC.
Allowing them to experience world in a much more visceral way, giving them advantage over other users by boosting their insight and empathetic ability to previously impossible levels compared to others. Very quickly, any thoughts of escape were eclipsed by their realization of what an elite army of influencers could achieve with these superpowers. The horror and outrage experienced by the remaining influencers in the outside world subsided, replaced by desperate pilgrimages to the island in attempts to join the cult. Basically, this is painting influencers in the light they deserve. Money-grabbing shitheads. A great onboarding event occurred in November of 2022, where 100 of the web's most egregious influencers were lured to Trashland on the promise of the world's best party. Excitement quickly turned to horror as they were forcefully augmented and put to work shilling Karma's brands. The onboarding initially caused outrage on social channels, but quickly turned to schadenfreude and some jubilation as the influencer's horrific plight became more widely known.
Let's fucking go!
Little baby, don't say a word. Who's next?
If you look on the whale holdings of BasedHeads, you may notice a familiar name. Robin Schmidt himself has bought back over 60 BasedHeads off the open market to help provide for a concept known as threshing. Threshing, also known as the ShakeOut, is the process by which new BasedHeads are allowed to join the community. Similar to a college scholarship, there are a small number of places among the BasedHeads that are offered to members of the community that can prove their clout by successfully shilling the brands of Trashland. Imagine a version of TV's The Apprentice, but fronted by a megalomaniac psychopath. It's a pretty cool way to help drive community content creation and onboard more committed BasedHeads. Part of the gamification of Trashland and BasedAF for the BasedHeads is brand benefaction. Brand benefaction is the process where the BasedHeads that are tied to a specific brand and have achieved a level of devotion by proving their effectiveness are given the right to produce their own digital and physical merchandise, carrying the respective brand name, allowing BasedHeads to leverage the existing brands that have been created. It's going to be fun to see what gets spun out at the community level. You might see someone drinking Fraz rocking a DGAF hoodie down the street, who knows? But that would be pretty based. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up!